Oh, hey friends, it's Pastor Trevor here, and just want to send a quick video out to you. I'm obviously wearing a hat. You've probably never seen me wear a hat because I don't. I'm wearing it because my hair is growing out, and no one's cutting hair these days. Believe it or not. My family's in the other room trying to do some homeschool, and so if you hear yells, screams, or pounds, I'm not sure what that is either. So just join me with that. um, but I just had some things on my heart that I wanted to just share with you regarding this time. This is going to be a process that we are going to be in for some time. I think our present world is immediately changing. Um, Honestly, I think it's a pandemic, just like so many world events changed the world in a day, like 9/11 and other things like that. This pandemic is going to change our world in a matter of days, weeks, and months. It's changed our daily rhythm. It's changed maybe our ability to receive income. It changes our ability to see what really matters in life. We're going, oh wow, I'm thankful for certain things now, due to this thing. It's changing our perspective, and the reality is it's frightening. It can be really frightening and unsettling, and the ground underneath the ground underneath us could really be shifting right now, and we could feel like, wow, I might be walking on some sand, on a foundation where I'm just feel like kind of not sure and not I'm just unsettled. And I just want to encourage us today, not with some cheap encouragement because I just don't think cheap stuff works right now. But I want to walk us through how we get to unshakable ground. I think that's a really important thing right now. You see, it says in Hebrews, Hebrews chapter 12, it says that, therefore, since we are receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken, let us be thankful and so worship God acceptably with reverence and awe, for our God is a consuming fire. The writer of Hebrews is really speaking to a people in a time where social pressure and persecution is beginning to invade the Jewish Christian world, and so he's talking to these Jewish Christians on holding to how to hold to their traditions and their Jewish faith, but believe in the Messiah Jesus and follow him. And he gets to this point where he says, "You are receiving, since we are receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken." And I think we've all read that verse, heard it, and said, wow, we have an unshakable kingdom. Then why do we feel so shakeable right now? Why do we feel up and down? I know many of us are feeling really, really confident in one second, like God's got this, and then all of a sudden fear hits, or anxiety, or the unknown of where income's going to come from, how we're going to make it to the next day or the next week or the next month, or when is life just going to go back to normal? Can we just get on with it, please? Whatever you're feeling in this moment, it's very unsettling. But what it's revealing is that we may have some foundation under us that hasn't been as firm or unshakable as we thought. I've had to walk through this, and I just feel like I wanted to give some tools. I wanted to give some advice on how to walk through a season gripping unshakable things, which is eternity, which is the hope that Christ gives through the cross. The gospel ultimately is the very thing that cannot be shaken. It is our God, our rock. He's our consuming fire, right? He is God. And so we're in this moment, and I want to kind of walk this through. You see, I think that we're in a place where he's not going to extract us out of this moment. He's just really not going to extract us from it. We actually are going to have to walk through this. See, it says in the psalm that we all know, in Psalms 23:4, it says, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they will comfort me." What do you notice about this verse? First, he doesn't just, God is not a search and rescue where he comes in and takes us out of the dark valley. He's a guy that actually, he's a shepherd that walks us through the valley. He knows the danger. He knows the hidden scary things in throughout the wilderness, and he is able to walk us through the darkest valley, the valley of the shadow of death. He's able to get us through that. And he's a shepherd that is actually able, to bring us to the other side, and we can have complete confidence in him. Another thing I notice is this: I will fear no evil, the writer says. I will fear no evil. Why? For your rod and your staff, they comfort me, and you are with me. You see, this is a person, David, who understands the climate of shepherding, and he's speaking and referring to God as a good shepherd in this moment. You see, David walked the hills all around Bethlehem, and there it is hilly, and it's just insane, the landscape, the land that they're in, and so there's a lot of wilderness, there's a lot of hills, there's a lot of places for a sheep to actually be lost on. And he speaks from this moment of being a sheep in this analogy, saying, following you will comfort me, because you are a shepherd that knows where he is going, who can traverse any land, any landscape, period. You can make us through. So therefore, your rod and staff, they comfort me, because I'm going to be in arm's reach, in staff reach from you, that you're going to pull me close and you're going to nudge me forward. You're going to keep me moving. I'm going to be okay. We're in that time. God's not going to extract us. He's going to lead us through. And he's so good, so powerful, and his kingdom is so unshakable that he's able to walk us through the darkest valley. And that's not cheap faith anymore, guys. That is real. That is 100% real and true. And so let's walk that valley out. Since we're not getting extracted, since we're processing, since we're persevering through, since we're walking through this, we need some steps. So first of all, if you feel like you've been if you feel like you've been shaken to such a degree, this is what I want to encourage you. I want you to begin to open up a journal, and I want you to begin to write down why you feel like you've been shaken. What is it? Is it selfish motives? Like, I just want to go back to work and it's all about me? Is it because you're afraid of the unknown of your life, and the hope that you have had has been not substantial enough to walk you through this? Has it been you're fearful for someone who's in your life that's immunocompromised or vulnerable to really be in that 20% or more group? Whatever it is, you want to identify why you're being shaken. Not to write it off, not to ignore it. We want to face it head on. And so we want to write it down. I just think it's really important to kind of see things on paper. Say, okay, this is where I'm at. I'm scared, I'm frightened, I'm nervous about some things. So this is where I'm at. Just write it down. And I think from there, this writing, this clear, detailed confession becomes an offering to God. God, what do you want to do with this? What do you want to do with this? And that's when you hold it up and you bring it to God. And this is where confession, repentance, whatever you want to call it, begins to happen. Where we say, God, inform my thoughts. I confess it. I'm not going to live on this foundation anymore. I confess it. I'll offer it to you. And I would just really encourage you to begin to persevere now in the second step, in confession and constant surrender, with the things you've identified. And surrender's sometimes a one-time thing, and all of a sudden you're like, peace, wow, I feel great, and I'm going to run, and it won't come back. But oftentimes as well, it's a consistent thing. It's a day-to-day, hour-by-hour, minute-by-minute thing where we just have to practice opening our hands to God, saying, God, take it. My life is truly in your hands. My heart is truly in your hands. Help me. And oftentimes it really feels like a perseverance happens. So I just want to encourage you. That's kind of that second step where it's a very long step that probably will never end in your life, where you just persevere, surrendering certain things in your life. And as you do, you're exchanging the shakeable for the unshakable. And you want to put that unshakable thing will start strengthening you and building you up. That's what will happen. But sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Usually I try to work out. I don't know about you, but I try to work out. And I know when you first start working out, man, your muscles just burn for days. You're just like waking up totally sore and just feeling terrible. But as time goes on and as your body adapts to working out, your muscles it begins to change. That feeling of putting those muscles straining begins to change, and it becomes more pleasant, or you can recover more quickly. And that's really what we're in. This may be really the first time you're heavy lifting, and you feel like your muscles are just being torn up, and you're just sitting there just hurting. But I think the more and more we persevere with God and really seeking Him out, living that surrendered life, the more our automatic posture, whether crisis happens or not, we find ourselves on that solid ground, trusting God through hard seasons. And because I believe generation through generation, hard things have happened. Pandemics have happened. Plagues have happened. Wars have happened. People have died. Unbelievable things have happened to really good people, and yet the gospel has still been effective. Jesus still has worked and is still good amidst it. But it's the practice of persevering through. Okay, so first, identify, confess the things that are shakable in your life. Second, persevere through those things, and that goes on. This is like forevermore. Those two things we just constantly go back and forth on for some time. And then third is this. I think third is will help you through this is worship. I think telling God who He is, reminding our soul who He is really important. That's what Hebrews says, doesn't it? It says, now we're receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken, let us be thankful, and so worship God acceptably with reverence and awe. So what does that mean? This is what it means. Step 3 is this. We worship amidst our fear. There's a war happening maybe in our soul where fear, anxiety, fear of the unknown, of going back to normal, of death, whatever the fear is that we are carrying. That tension has to wrestle with the reality of truth of who God is. God is the eternal God who came down, gave His life for us, and now we can be with Him forever and ever and ever, no matter what happens. That even the worst happens, we get to be with God, no matter what. And that's our comfort. And so He says, so let us be thankful that we have an unshakable kingdom, that we actually have the ability to find a foundation, that we have the ability to walk in a kingdom that no matter what happens, no matter the worst that could happen in our world, we have a kingdom that can withstand it. Isn't that awesome? So let us be thankful and worship God acceptably, with reverence and awe, meaning with fear, meaning, okay, we respect there's this God who can transcend every situation in our life, and therefore we can live truly trusting Him, and He's enough. Whoa, that should blow our mind if you really think about it. Then in the midst of a crisis like this, we have a God that is so durable that He can walk us through this. Unbelievable. So let's worship him. Let's be thankful. I was texting one of our people just yesterday, and you could be praying for this individual. I'll leave them nameless. They are most likely dealing with coronavirus. And they are just fatigued and tired, and I just check in. I try to check in daily, saying, "Hey, how are you doing?" And they said, "I'm doing well. I can't shake this feeling and this fatigue. I'm tired, but I'm hanging in there. And the reason why I'm fighting discouragement, but the reason why I'm getting through it is because I'm realizing the things I can be thankful for." And I thought, wow, what a perspective. Someone who's wrestling truly with this virus, who's fatigued, napping all through the day. Like, just the sickness is getting them. And they're saying, no, I'm trying to stay thankful. And I was so encouraged by the durable faith, by her to walk through this time on a firm foundation. That is Jesus, and seeing the blessings amidst the really hard things. So that's what I think. Okay. So 1, confess. 2, persevere through. 3, worship. Live in a thankful heart, knowing that our God is a durable God that can walk us through all things. He's walked humanity through many, many things. And so it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Our God is durable, he is huge, and we can worship him. And in the midst of worship, here's what happens. Our soul is reminded what is true. Where our soul feels unstable, it's just a sign that our soul longs for stability, which is only found in Jesus, which we find in worship. And so I just want to encourage you. I think those 3 things, it's not, I know I'm trying to give some practicals, but really it's a war that we got to carry. And God has given us weapons of warfare to begin to walk solid in joy, in peace, and true faith and hope. Not cheap stuff. This is our opportunity, church, to actually stand on a firm foundation. So I want to encourage you with that, guys. I love you. I really do. And I do miss you. Man, I miss you. And that's not just because I'm an extrovert and I just miss people. That is true, but I do miss you. And please do send something to me. Just tell me how you're doing. Tell me how we could care for you, and because we care about you. If you've lost your job, if you're lonely, any of that, we care for you and love you. So I hope this encourages you. I hope this gives you some fuel to stand on the firm foundation that is Christ. Love you guys. Talk to you real soon.